Hey, Bookish Besties, it's Jazzy.
And Lexi, thanks for picking up our FaceTime call. And today we are talking about Fairydale by Veronica Lancet. Buckle in, y'all.
Yeah, pour yourself a nice cold drink, your favorite beverage, and let's talk about this big, beautiful book.
That's definitely one way to describe it because I hated this book up until like 70% through, but I like trudged through. And I mean, we're going to talk about this. So just, yeah. Okay, so Jazzy, why don't you give us like the summary?
Yeah, so just FYI for this episode, we will use the first portion of it to talk about non-spoiler things, but the second half of this episode will have spoilers. So we will let you know when it is safe to proceed or step away if we're going to give you a spoiler. But if you don't know, we're talking about Fairydale by Veronica Lancet, and I'm going to read you the synopsis that's on the back of the book. August 1955, when Miss Darcy O'Sullivan, an orphaned English teacher from Boston, receives a letter that her biological father passed away, she is surprised to find herself included in his will. There is only one condition. She must travel to Fairydale to attend his funeral. With the promise of a sizable inheritance, Darcy decides to journey to the small coastal town that holds secrets of her birth. But the moment she steps foot in Fairydale, things go amiss. Odd residents, odd rumors, odd deaths. Everything about Fairydale is odd, including brooding Caleb Hale, part of the infamous Hale family. During the day, she falls deeper and deeper under his spell as he forces her to step out of her comfort zone and embrace her inner sensuality. But at night, it's another man who haunts her dreams, Eamon D'Artan, a nobleman who lived 2 centuries ago. Eamon is sweet and suave, where Caleb is intense and dangerous, and Darcy feels more torn than ever. Soon she finds herself embroiled in a web of lies, deceit, and inexplicable events that make her question her sanity. When an ancient evil threatens the town and everything Darcy holds dear, she must make the ultimate choice. But will she survive it?
Okay, so like the synopsis, this book is a clusterfuck. However, um, I think we should start off with by giving like our ratings. My final rating of the book was, to my absolute shock, because I'm just going off what I thought in the beginning, was 5 stars. This was actually one of my top reads of the year, which is just incredible. What did you rate it, Jazz?
I think I rated it 5 stars as well, if not five, 4 stars. And yes, I agree. So this book, like, it's really hard to describe without spoiling it, but there's just so much going on. Um, I think that like consensus is that you will be confused for most of the book, but if you keep going and stick to it, it's so worth it.
100%. So, like, just to kind of give like the aesthetic of the book, it's a really dark, gothic, like fantasy romance, and it's definitely like a historical esque book. So I think it's like the 50s is where the main
Yes.
like storyline takes place, because there's
Mm-hmm.
multiple timelines in this book that you'll find out, or dreams or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of like that because I don't know, there's something about like a little romance in like the 50s or the 1800s. I'm like, ugh, they're so dapper and cute. You know what I'm saying? It's like that part of the book was like really cool. And I think Veronica, the author, did a really good job of keeping it within the timeline with like actions, phrases, all that stuff. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, so with the multiple timelines, like the different timelines other than the 1955 timeline were my favorite parts of the books. When we got a glimpse into like the different timelines, it was my absolute favorite. And I have to agree, like Damon D'Artan, like when Darcy dreams of him, he first comes to her as like a nobleman and like think of like the Pride and Prejudice era. And
Mm,
I'm not a big
yes.
historical romance reader, but that part of the book, I just kept wanting more. And that's I think what you find with this book when you read it, like you're like, "Oh my God, we're getting nowhere, but I want so much more of it." Or like you'll
Yes.
go through these very long chapters where it's like a different timeline and you'll read through it and you've gone through like, I don't know, 200 pages and you get all of this information, but no information at the same time. And that's what I found myself like craving more and getting so angry when like she would like basically come back to the 1955 timeline. I was like, no, I need more of like the past, please.
I know, and it's like this book is over 800 pages.
It's a
And what
very
was
long book.
the Audible was like what, like 18 hours almost, or was it like
It was
16?
it was a very, I'll double check, but yes, it was a very long, I think this is probably the longest book that I've ever read or listened to because I did do the
Amateur.
audiobook. I'm telling you, I'm not a big, huge fantasy reader, and so that's also why like fantasy books intimidate me, because they're so long and it's such a big commitment.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I know we just talked last episode about like book slumps and, all that stuff, but this book, I mean, I wanted to do not finish it for the first half
Hmm.
of it, but I was like, man, I've already committed so much time into it. Like, there's gotta be like a point where I'm gonna love this book or things are gonna come together. So I was like, I have to honor my time commitment from the beginning of this book because I mean, as Jazzy knows, I can read a book a day, and
Oh
I
yeah.
like I like devour books. Like it takes me nothing. This one, I had to
This one
spread it
slowed her
out,
down, y'all. This one
which
slowed
is
her
like
down.
it was so hard for me. But then when the turning point does happen, I was like, oh my god, this was totally
Hooked.
worth it. And I think it's like a good
Hmm.
thing to kind of bring up because so many people DNF books and it's like, man, like you
Yes.
might be getting just before it. So it's like, how do you determine when to DNF and when to not? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, so I have seen a lot of that when I was like looking through reviews of this book, a lot of people DNF'd it because yes, they were confused for most of it. You will be confused for a lot of it. It is a long book. It's the audiobook is 31 hours. So just to give you some context of like,
oh my God.
where you are. And I think it's split up into different parts if I'm not mistaken. But also the
Yeah.
chapters are very, very long. And like we said, there's multiple points of view, multiple timelines. So there's just a lot going on with this book. But um, I it is hard because you're going to be confused for a lot of it. And without spoiling a lot of it, you're just going to be like, you're going to want to throw it across the room probably.
You're getting
Um,
gaslit the whole fucking book. Like,
yes, you know what? You will be gaslit. But I think that's part of the fun of it. And yeah, as far as like DNFing, I'm one of those people that it's very hard for me to DNF a book. I know it might be the opposite for a lot of people, but for me, I'm just very stubborn. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to let this book defeat me. So that's also why it's like hard for me to pick up a really big book because I'm like, I don't like to DNF books. And if this is going to put me into a slump, I don't want to do it. But I did have to take a break. Like I was like I need to stop because it was just getting so convoluted and I'm like nothing is happening, but I've already been halfway through this book. But I will say that like the last like half of the book was my absolute favorite and I it was so long, but when I was done with it, I did not want it to end. Like I needed more of it. So,
yeah. So I think the only reason why I didn't DNF it, like I said, was like the time commitment that I'd already put into it. And then we were also buddy reading it. It was you and me and then
yeah.
Aid as well. So we
Yes.
have another friend that we did this read with, and it's so funny because like we have like this little like small friends group like Discord, and we're all on the channel like what the F is like going on in this book? And like Abe was so confused, Jazzy's confused. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
mad because like that's my first like emotion with most things.
Yes.
Like if I don't
Yes.
understand it, I'm immediately angry. Like I am smarter than this. Like I've gone to college. Like
100%. I think like the three of us at one point were like, the author is gaslighting us. Like the main character is gaslighting us because I think also it's important to know that like it's an unreliable narrator because you don't know
yes,
like what's really true and what's not, and
because
there's
she
just a
doesn't.
lot coming at you. Yeah, because she basically Darcy is confused. Well, maybe not so confused because a lot of things happen to her and a lot of things happen in front of her, and she's just like, huh, that's weird.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. So I think at this point, to anyone that's watching this that hasn't read it, go read it. Let us know your thoughts. Hang tough in there. Push through it when you want to DNF it. Now, please leave the podcast after you leave a like and you subscribe and you follow because now we need to get into the spoilers. So here's your final warning.
if you have not read Fairydale, we will be proceeding with talking about spoilers from here on out. But if you are planning to read it, leave us a like, follow, comment. Let us know what you think when you do read it. But we'll give you a second to exit, and spoilers coming at you in three, two, one, now.
What the fuck? Because why did this bitch watch someone's organs come out of them during a funeral and just say, well, that was weird? Excuse me?
Yes. She attends her father's funeral and his body comes out of the like casket and he's like alive. Which the whole time I was like, he's not alive. He's not alive. Like something weird is happening. And he like his organs just like come out of him. He's like throwing them up or whatever. And then he bursts into flames. And everyone was like, huh, all right. And Darcy was like, oh, okay. She was just kind of like, does that normally happen? Like, are you guys okay? I was baffled. I was like, excuse me? But no, everyone was like, oh, okay, well, that was weird.
They were also like TikTok scene where it's like, witch! Like, they like turned into the witch. And that like fucking killed me. Also, I'm sorry to our viewers. I obviously have like a sailor mouth and we might eventually be
Yeah,
like
yeah,
bleep
yeah.
me out. But like it was so funny. And she's just looking at them like, how dare you? I'm a teacher. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Mm.
God. And I think it was like during that scene that I like messaged you and I was like, hey, look, I know you've read a lot of Veronica Lancet's books. Does it get better? Tell me she's a good writer and she has like good books and blah blah blah. And Jazz is like, yes, and Veronica we trust. And I was like, I'm holding you to it, Jazzy, because right now this book is
Yes.
making me so mad.
Oh, I've read her like her mafia books. Those were the
Oh
first
yeah.
books that I read by her, and they're amazing. And most of her books are very, very dark, and she's like now dabbled into the dark gothic fantasy, and they're big, chunky books. So if you like Fairydale, I would say check out the rest of her books. She has another book in this universe as well. I'll have to take a look to see what it's called, and I'll put it right here for you all.
So a lot of unexplained things keep happening, and what we learn is that Eamon, who is her true love, right, is trying to send her messages and lead her on the right path because like this this is not like he has always been alive, right? But she keeps dying. So this is her reincarnation. Each reincarnation he's trying to like have her remember things without telling her because I'm sorry, if some guy
He
comes up to
can't,
me,
yeah.
yeah, and says like, "Oh, hey, by the way, we've been in love for like centuries and millennia." Like I'm like, "Okay, all right. Well, here's you know, a therapist. Don't talk to me again." I like, you know what I
Please
mean?
don't call me ever again. The gist of this, if you have stayed around and want this book spoiled for you, Eamon has been alive for centuries, millennia, and so has Darcy, but she's like passed away. And so each timeline is her in a reincarnation of her soul or her life. And we find out that the reason why um, she dies because she has like this power that's been taken away from her. And it's her second lifetime. Her adopted son, well, technically like her nephew of that lifetime, ends up killing her because he wants to take her power. So in this book, there's magical elements. So she's essentially from a line of like witches, and her first form or like her first self or being, her name is Stella, and like so Stella and Damon are the fated mates, and Stella keeps dying. She comes back as Lizzie in the Pride and Prejudice era, and then she comes back as Darcy in the 1950s. And Damon has, like, he's been with her the whole time, and that's why Darcy keeps dreaming of Damon the way that she does. And yeah, I just think that their love story is so beautiful, and
Mm.
also big huge spoiler, Caleb ends up being Damon because he is not a creature. Neither of them are creatures from this earth, so they came from another planet essentially, or another universe, landed on Earth. So he has the ability to shapeshift, and so he ends up shapeshifting into a cat from her past. So he does things to kind of like trigger her memory and things that she dreams about. But
Mr.
he's also
Meow.
kind of in he's also influencing her dreams. Yes, the cat is Mr. Meow, and when Darcy dreams of him, she like realizes that like the cat that appears to her is the cat from her dreams from when she was Lizzie. And eventually Darcy ends up becoming Sella again when she like gets her powers back or her like jewel that was taken from her. So,
Yeah, you'll see, like, we keep trying to talk about this, and it's like we're jam packing more and more into each sentence because there's so many layers to this book. Like, we just casually reference that they're from another planet. That's like the biggest part of this story, is that they had to escape this planet because they were like being hunted for things that were like outside of their control. And it kind of gives Rapunzel vibes, you know what I mean? Like the mom locks her away in the tower in every lifetime and
mhm.
tries to control her powers for herself. And
Yes, so
I
history
really
keeps
like
repeating
that.
itself in every lifetime as well.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to point out. Like basically, almost very similar events happen in every lifetime. So you'll also find that. And then as far as like finding out that they're actually not from this planet, not beings that are human, we don't find that out until like the very like I think like the last third of the book, honestly. Um,
Yeah.
because
It's like right towards the end.
Darcy, yeah, so Darcy does dream of being Sella, maybe like one time halfway through the book, but we only get very small glimpses of like Sella and Damon. And she's confused
Yeah.
as to why Damon is like with another woman because she's only dreamt of him with Darcy. So she's very confused. So when we say multiple timelines, there's multiple timelines and they also don't go in order, which is also why our brains are like, what is happening in this book? And it doesn't click until like, I don't know, I would say like the last 200 pages of the book, honestly.
It's so worth it, the last 200 pages. And also, I do kind of like want to back up to the fated mates aspect because, Eric, in usual like fantasy terms, like when someone's a fated mate, you get like a cool tattoo, a cool, like some kind of bonded piece. No, Damon gets
Oh,
a,
oh,
he
I
gets a
completely
piercing.
forgot about this.
And this is like one of our biggest discussions, is because the way Veronica, the author, describes the piercing, we could not figure it out. We were like, does it go over the top? Does it go under?
The way that
Uh,
she described it was like a ring. So we're like, is it a cock ring? Like this man just got a cock ring? But no, we think it's like a
put a
piercing
ring on it.
at the end of his dick. So
Dick. Yeah, if you like it, put a ring on it. I thought that was so funny to me.
he took
But
that shit literally.
he did, and I think it was like the first time they ever met that he was like, by the way, you're mine. I put a ring on it. And it's just
Yes.
like,
Yes.
whoa. Um,
Also, but okay, so speaking of other spicy parts, this book is pretty spicy. Like I was pretty shocked by like the amount of spice in this book, or not the amount of spice, but like the type of spice. Also, let me just say that one of my absolute favorite parts of this book was the spicy paintings because they're living like
yes.
Pride and Prejudice era, and so obviously there's no nudes. So this man like painted her nude and obviously if you've read the book you know like he shows her the like spicy paintings as Darcy and she's like what the hell but she's Lizzie like it the time when you find out the timeline like he painted her as Lizzie and Lizzie was like all for it like paint me and then they would like do it or whatever but when Darcy comes across the paintings she's just aghast she's like oh my
Oh,
god and
good
I just thought
heavens.
that was so funny because I'm like oh girl come on but yeah, I was like, well, there's no
Well,
nudes back in that time, so obviously spicy paintings.
well, to be fair, one of the paintings is her like going down on him from his like
Yes, when
perspective.
we say spicy paintings, they're like her in like sexual positions, like them doing it, not, I think like it's one from like just imagine like him looking down while his ring is in her mouth and she's just like, what the hell? Like who
And she
does
was
this?
like, "You bastard, you looked at me while I was sleeping naked.
Yeah.
Like, how
And
dare you?"
so she thinks that it's Caleb that's doing this. And so she confronts him. And Caleb is like, Caleb, uh, Amen or whatever, is like, what are you talking about? Those paintings are not spicy. And it's like an office moment where like she pans over to the paintings and she looks at them and they're just like landscapes. And she's like, what the hell? So again, she's being gaslit and she's gaslighting us. Like it's just. everyone is confused and no one knows what's going on until the last
Well,
portion of this book. So,
but that's when one of the cutest like little quotes comes out is he's like, I'm your brush and you are my canvas, or was it she that said that? Um, so that's like another thing in this book. There are several like just dreamy little quotes that made me like go over and slap my husband and be like, why do you not talk to me like this? How dare you?
yes, yes. So Damon's been around for a while, so he knows how to woo a woman, and he don't give a crap about no other woman but Stella, Darcy, Lizzie. And one of the things that Stella ends up saying, or Darcy ends up saying, when she realizes that Damon is alive, or Eamon is alive, and she realizes where he is, because again, he's been alive this whole time, and everyone thinks that he's dead. But when Darcy realizes that she's been Lizzie, she's been Stella, um, and she realizes where he is and she goes and finds him, that is one of the things that she asks him, like, are you mad that I'm not Stella, or like, do you feel any, differently? And it's like one of my favorite quotes, and he said, like, you would be mine under any other name, just like I would be yours. Like, this man is like, I don't care, I love you for you. Like, he loves her soul. So good.
I got like goosebumps, but like that's like another scene in the book is when you learn that she has died. And one of the ways that he was able to get her reincarnated is he like captured her essence and like put it in a pod. And this sounds so science fiction-y, but like basically he sits by this pod that is protecting her essence while it tries to reincarnate for centuries to wait for her. He
Mm-hmm.
would not leave her
Yep.
side. Oh my god, I just have like the biggest goosebumps because like this man loved her. And love isn't even
Yes.
like a big enough
So,
word for it.
and he loves her, and he knows that he knows that she's Stella, that Darcy is Stella, Lizzie is Stella, but he can't tell her that, like, like Lexi said, he can't just walk up to her and be like, hey, you and me, we've been together for centuries and you're just reincarnated now. Like, he literally had to wait until she called out for him, essentially. One of the first times that Lizzie meets Damon is when, I keep saying Damon, when she meets Eamon is when she's in trouble. And it's one of those, like, you came, you called moments. And you don't
Oh,
really realize it until like way more into the book, because obviously we don't know at that point, like, that they've been these people and they've been meant to be. And like, one of the things that the author does say is that, like, in a lot of her books she will always write, like, you're my lover in every lifetime, or like, we're meant to be in every lifetime. And this book is the epitome of that. So like, I think if you like this book, I think you'll like or enjoy all of Veronica Lancet's books, because I think that this book is like the epitome of her writing style and like the themes and things that she likes to put in her books. So
100%. And there's like a lot of underlying themes in this book. I know a big one was like her infertility that was caused by her mother's curse because the mom was upset that, she lost control of her, so she took her ability to have kids away. Um,
yeah.
that one was really hard because you see her struggling with it throughout the book that like, she just always wants kids, and this is how she ends up with those three adopted children, but they're really her nephew and nieces. I was like nephew and
In her
nephettes.
niece.
Like
What are they called? Yeah. So I so Stella, she yearns to be pregnant. So when they escape like their universe and come to Earth, it's like back in like Roman times. And so she wants
yeah.
to be pregnant, but she realizes that her mom like took a piece of her when her mom like cursed her before they like were able to escape. And that's actually kind of like the thing that triggers her reincarnation, two times, because she is so determined to have a child that she seeks out a healer.
Yeah.
And Eamon is kind of skeptical, but he loves her so much that he's like, I will do anything that you want. And this healer ends up tricking both of them. And instead of her getting better, he basically takes her essence, like, he takes her powers away. Um, and that's basically what kills her the first time. And as Lexi said, like, Aemon like stood by her for centuries waiting for her to reincarnate into
I'll cry
Lizzie,
again.
which, yes, which I will say that when Lizzie, like, the storyline of Lizzie also wanting to become pregnant. And when Lizzie realizes that she's been Stella, like we have a glimpse into Darcy's like dream of all of this happening, where Lizzie tells Eamon like I want to have a child, and he tells her, you know why we can't. So in that moment, they both remember that like the last time that they had tried to get pregnant, she died. But we as the audience, as the reader, have no idea what they're talking about. This doesn't become clear until further down the line after
Yep.
Darcy kind of realizes everything and it comes all full circle. But um, when that storyline was happening or that dream was happening, Darcy basically gets a letter, or not Darcy, sorry, Lizzie gets a letter saying like, "Hey, your sister died and her kids, they're orphaned. So you gonna take them or what?" So she has to go to like England and get her niece and her nephews. And I was texting the group chat like, did this man kill her sister for the kids
I was
so
like,
that
what a
she could
man.
be a mom? So that she could be a mother. And I was like, oh, okay. I think I have something in like our notes because I was in my notes, I was like writing it. And I was like, did this man really like kill her sister so that she could be a mother? And I was like, a gentleman? Oh my God.
If he
Uh,
wanted to, he would,
he
ladies.
would. I'm telling you.
I mean, I forget, like, now I'm like, it's like fuzzy to me because, I've already read like 20,000 books since reading this book. Um,
Hmm.
but wasn't it like actually like truly an accident? Like, he didn't kill them. It was just like a happy occurrence, technically.
So it was kind of like a two birds, one stone situation. Because her sister had found out, again, there's so much going on, but her sister had found out that Damon was alive and that he was, I keep saying Damon, god damn it. Eamon was alive and that he was with Lizzie and managed to marry Lizzie, and they were living together in America. And again, she comes from a family of witches, so she was off to tell her mom and the Council of Witches like, hey guys, this guy's still alive, and he has my sister. We need to get rid of him. And Eamon found out, and he basically caused the accident that caused her to pass away. Um, and so this is also another thing that like blows up in our faces in the book because first of all, Lizzie gets her cute little family, and I would just want to say that those scenes where Stella is living as Lizzie and they're living with their family, and she has her daughter Liddy, who's her niece, but they take them in, and their two nephews. Well, the one nephew because the other one, you know,
Evil.
ends up killing her. But the scenes where they're growing up as a family and living together as a family were so sweet, and I did not want that dream to end. I was like, oh my God, I need more of it because there was this one part where Liddy, like they're all eating dinner and Liddy, the little girl that they adopt, is like making eyes at her dad to like get him to say yes to something. And she's like, I'm just gonna make eyes like mommy so that daddy can say yes. And I just thought that was like the sweetest thing. I
It
was like,
is.
I want more of this. And it was just amazing. But then, 20 pages later, shit hits the fan again.
I know, and it's so funny because like I'm child free by choice in real life, and I don't like hate kids or anything like that, but I'm not like a very kid person. So
Hmm.
it says something truly when even I am like wanting more moments with the kids in the books because it was honestly written so beautifully, like Jasmine just said. Like, I
Yes, it
mean,
was.
God, I was like, I want a little baby like this. Like, this is so cute, But
Yes,
yeah, it was
yes.
so sad because the oldest son basically blamed them for being orphans and truly believed that Aemon was a demon. And also, like, this is, I get off a little sidetrack here. This is a really great like parallel thing where like when the human race doesn't understand something, they automatically deem it evil and bad. And they kind of mark these people as demons and witches. And so they're saying like, oh, Aemon's a demon, he's evil because I don't understand his power. um
Hmm.
and they kind of like write off on that, like the whole burning at the stake. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yes.
it was just crazy. So like this older son that they have or nephew basically just wants the power for himself and to get like revenge for his parents without like fully understanding everything, and he's truly the evil one. And some of the things that they put like Lizzie and then Darcy through are just so disgusting. Like they made up like this whole essay scene with
Hmm.
Lizzie and made Darcy watch it, like basically Eamon doing these horrendous things to her.
That
I
was
mean,
fake. That was false. It was a vision that they made
oh,
her see.
it
Because
sucker punched
again,
me.
when we say unreliable narrator, it's because she doesn't know what's real and what's not, and we don't know what's real and what's not. Which I also
No.
think is such a unique perspective on a book. Like I've never read a book like this. But yes, there is sexual assault on Paige, um, and she witnesses it, and they make her witness it as like basically explaining why Aemon is evil. And the way that they frame it for her is that Aemon sexually assaulted Lizzie, and Lizzie died because of that. So essentially, they're trying to tell her that, or trying to show her that Aemon murdered Lizzie, and he's an evil being, and that's why Darcy must help them get rid of Aemon. But at
Forever.
this point, Darcy, like at that point in the book, Darcy has realized what's going on. And she's realized that she has been this person in every lifetime. And that's when she goes to find Aemon because he's stuck underneath the church,
Oh,
which this is a callback to Liddy. Again, I think Liddy might be one of my favorite characters besides the two main characters because Liddy, besides the fact that she's so fucking adorable as a child and has like some of the best scenes, I think, in the book when they're living as Lizzie and Eamon. She, again, they're from a family of witches, so she is a witch and she has powers and she sees the future. And she tells Lizzie when they're living as Lizzie and Eamon, um, she has like a vision and she tells Lizzie, don't get like I see the future and you and daddy are happy or something like that, but me and like my brothers aren't there. And Lizzie's very confused. She's like, what are you saying? And then she has another vision and she tells her like, don't give it to him, like don't give it to him. So Liddy this whole time has been watching out for her parents. And when Darcy realizes that Eamon is stuck in the church, when they go basically to confront the villain of the story, they find out that he had her alive this whole time. And we had to watch her, as Sella, realize that her daughter is alive. She's been helping her this whole time, um, that she's been alive. And we have to watch her die because she's been kept alive against her will. So she's like very, very old at this point.
by her older
And
brother, by the way.
by her older brother was keeping her alive for her powers. But she basically did what she could the whole time that she was alive to help her parents get back together. And essentially also I think so that they could find her and that she could die peacefully because she was again being kept alive against her will, which that storyline broke my heart when I had to watch her pass away and Stella was like, "No, my daughter, like that's my
No,
daughter." And
Lizzie.
Eamon was like, "Oh, yes, Lizzie."
Yeah, Lizzie.
Was it wasn't she Stella by that point?
No, no, no. Stella was the first one, then Lizzie's the second one, because Lizzie mine, and then Darcy,
So
right?
Darcy realizes she's Lizzie, but at this point maybe we still don't know that she's Stella. Again, multiple storylines. It's been a little
You
bit
get
since
the
we've read
gist
this,
though, basically. Like,
but
it's her
yes.
daughter from the past lifetime.
Yes, so she knows that Liddy was her daughter and that Liddy helped them and she had to watch her die. So that was just so sad.
And in the previous lifetime, when she died the second time, she held her other son, the not evil one, while he died because his
Yeah.
older brother killed him and then he killed her. But
Hmm.
she like wouldn't let go of him like while he was like bleeding out, and I was just sitting there like tears streaming down my face. Like, how cruel and evil can you be? And then I was like, I'm writing a
Yes.
strongly worded email to Veronica Lancet because how dare you? Like,
How
when
dare
are they
you,
gonna get
ma'am?
happiness? Okay, but like,
Yes.
because we're almost at like 40 minutes here, but th- I feel like we've described a lot of traumatic stuff in the book and then like a lot of like heart tugging. There is a really adorable, happy ending to it, and I think this is so cool because you have all these like historical timelines, and then like the last like epilogue of the book, the last couple pages, is them being in
Hmm.
our timeline, happy, like this couple in like a little apartment, and she is pregnant, and
Oh, yes. adorable. The way that she also like the way that Eamon tells her too is so funny because she's like, ugh, I think I've been eating too many cookies or like biscuits or whatever. And he's like, well, yeah. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, girl, you're pregnant.
Yeah, I know. It's like, no matter how good a man is at wooing a woman, there's still a man.
He is a man
There's
after
some
all.
shit.
One of my favorite things to write in my notes when I'm reading a book for like a book club or a buddy read is he is a man after all. After he says something a man would say.
That was it. And basically you find out that because she has reincarnated and she got her necklace back with her essence and she's whole or whatever, her body regenerated the missing piece that was needed to have a child. Um
Hmm.
Now, I do still have some qualms with this book. And the biggest one is that at the end of the book, I feel like this could have had a second book because they hint at going back to their home planet to kind of like right the wrongs and take back everything because that's what they originally escaped from was
Hmm.
the original like Mother Gothel Rapunzel storyline, you know what I'm saying? Um
Hmm.
I I've heard hints that Veronica might write another book about this. I don't know. You know how it
Oh.
is. Like it could just be a rumor. I would love to see this because I love this story so much. I just think she
Hmm.
won't do it because she can't gaslight us as much. I said it.
100% I agree with you. I will say that when I was reading this book, I thought like maybe halfway through I was like this should have been three books. But looking back at it now, I'm happy that it was only one book because if it was three books, I feel like we would have caught on and known what was happening a lot quicker. Um, so yeah, I definitely agree. And I think I'll have to look up, but there is another book that is in this same universe, where they're creatures from the same planet that or universe that Stella and Eamon are from. So we'll put that right here for you if you guys want to check that one out as well. But we do need to talk about the monster fucking, the alien fucking.
I did like completely forget about that because I made a joke like on our like little group chat thingy where we learn what Eamon's actual form is like when he's like a war fighter and insert picture here. I thought it was like from the
So
the
I
Alien
just
vs
want to
Predator.
say So I just want to say that I didn't realize that when I was reading this book, this would start my monster romance era, but it did. Because when Stella becomes like aware that she is Stella, Lizzie, Darcy, that all of this has happened, that Eamon basically sacrificed for her, that he moved them to this planet, um, but he's basically sacrificed everything. And he hasn't shown her his true form, really. And so she's like, I want to see you in your true form, and I want you to fuck me in it. And he's like, you think I haven't thought about it?
I
Bet.
know what you are,
Um,
Edward.
so he has her like up against the like literally like on the wall and he's like using all of his parts on her.
um, the tail.
The tail. He fucks her with
uh,
his tail.
Everything on him in his final form is larger, and
A
I was just
lot
like,
larger.
and I've read like monster romance before, so like for me, it wasn't. I was like, holy, wow. Um, but
I had not. I had not read Monster, but I was like, oh,
oh,
okay. Fully an alien. Fully an alien. And she likes it.
yeah, it's just like I had a hard time with those scenes because I was literally envisioning the Alien versus Predator alien, and I remember sending it in the group chat, and like they were like, "Please
Yep.
don't ever send this." And I was like, "I'm sorry," but it is still sexy, it is still hot, and you're still like, "Wow."
No, it was good. It was good. Listen, when I say that it started my monster romance era, I proceeded to read Ice Planet Barbarians after that, and I was like,
Oh
get
my
it.
god, she's
I understand.
obsessed.
I am obsessed. I've already ordered two special editions. I have one on my shelf. I don't know if you can see it, and I'm waiting for the next one. And I'm planning to buy every single one that Era Books puts out. Shout out to Era Books.
Yeah, and it's funny because like she was messaging us, and I was like, "Well, actually, there's monster romance series that I love. It's by CM Nascosta, I believe is how you say her last name.
Mm-hmm.
And the first
Yes.
book is called Morning Glory Milk Farm. And I read it as a joke, okay? A joke.
No, it's good. It's
It was
good.
so good. Oh my God. And I like devoured the rest of the series. And I remember holding up the cover and my husband was like, all right, listen, don't read that in public. And I was like, you don't understand. But it was so good. And I love like monster romances. Like there's so many good ones out there and they get like such a bad rep. But um I'm just saying, like sometimes there are things that you can't get in the human form that you just whatever.
No, listen, the spurs and the tails, I'm all for it. And also they make well, let me not even say. Anyway, so yeah,
Another episode.
I will say, I guess, yes, one of the things that I was very shocked to find out about this book was that it was going to start me on my monster romance journey. So if you, like me, have also started your monster romance journey because of this book, let's chat.
Yeah, but if
Send me
if
your
you're not
best
into
recs.
it, like if you're one of the people that's like very anti monster romance, it is not the whole book. It is just like
No,
a
it's
very
one
small
scene.
portion. Yeah, yeah.
And it's
So,
also his true form that he like basically his warrior form. So like what he
mhm,
uses in battle. Think like Rhysand in Akatar. You know, he turns into that big huge monster. So, um but
yes.
yeah, so our final thoughts on Fairydale. Lexi, what are your final thoughts? Would you recommend? And what type of reader do you think would enjoy this book?
I had like the dial-up tone in my brain for a second there. I would say I love this book so much that I am hunting for the special edition by Arcane. And that's probably going to run me about $200 to $300. That's saying something for me. I would highly recommend this book to anybody that is like a serious dark fantasy reader because you do have to have the cojones to like read
To
through
get
it and
through it.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't DNF it. And I want to read it two or three more times just to like kind of pick up on everything I didn't before now that I know the ending.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Definitely one of my all-time favorite books. I mean, we have so many quotes highlighted here. I just I really wish I hadn't put it off for so long, but I don't know if I ever would have been ready to read it until I did. Uh, so yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, so 100%. I was pleasantly surprised by this book. Because again, I'm not a big fantasy reader, not a big, huge like paranormal reader. I do love dark romance, but this one has been on my TBR because again, I love Veronica Lancet. I've read her Mafia romance, which is very dark and very delicious. Um, and it didn't like the darkness in this didn't really surprise me because I've read her books before. But I think that one of the benefits of like if you have an author that you love, I personally love when they dabble into other genres, because that's how you can kind of get readers to read or pick up things that they don't usually, and that's exactly what happened here. I picked this book up, did a buddy read with my friends, and I absolutely loved it. I was confused most of the time, but I also think that like if you do a buddy read or join a book club for it, this would be a perfect book club book.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, because everyone interprets things differently, and again, everyone is going to be so confused. There's so much going on. I just think it's perfect for that.
You need
So I
support.
definitely recommend that. Yeah, there's just so many good quotes, so many like there's just such good romance in this as well, which I really love. It's got basically like the best of everything because it's an amazing storyline. It's got amazing world building. The way that Veronica writes is just so beautiful. Um, and like for me, again, no surprise to anyone, but the number one thing for me is the romance in this book is just top tier. So,
Yes.
yes.
Uh,
So, so if you don't know, Fairydale is being traditionally published. We'll leave links in our comment section or caption for you to check it out. And if you've seen the black and white cover, which I will put right here, it is out of print. And this one is the new one. And it does have an extended epilogue or a new epilogue, which I've seen a sneak peek of, and it's so good.
well, we have yapped and gabbed like for so long. So, just to remind everybody, our comments are open. Tell us your thoughts about this book if you have read it or if you're planning to read it. Everyone has an opinion. Just be constructive about it. It's okay to be a hater for the first half, but if you're a hater for the last half, I won't respect it. No, I'm totally kidding. Um, please, please, please give us a follow, a like, a subscribe, whatever you're watching this on. We have a lot of fun things planned coming up, and I know like our next episode, we're actually talking about some controversial stuff in the book community, like boundaries with authors. And we have some behind the scenes like things that we're working on. So I'll let Jazzy close us out.
If you've read and loved Fairydale, please let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Give us a like and follow. We put out episodes every week, and we can't wait to yap with you on our next FaceTime. Can't
Yeah.
talk.
All right. Bye, y'all.